Hello from Waymo. As we get going, just give us 1 minute to cover a few riding tips. This experience may feel futuristic, but the need to buckle up is the same as always. So keep your seatbelt fastened, please. If you're traveling with little ones or expecting, please see the seatback card for more information. We'll do all the driving, so please don't touch the steering wheel or pedals during your ride. We may use interior cameras, check on riders, improve our product, and more. But our microphones are only on when you're connected to rider support. So sing your heart out. We can't hear you. Don't forget your phone, keys, or wallet. There are more drop-off options in the app. For your safety, the doors will remain locked when we arrive. Pull the handle twice to exit. The first pull unlocks, the second opens the door. You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
뻔했어. 다치.
Nathan, what is that poison rat?
Andy, let's go, Paul.
Andy. Okay, Andy.
Oh, we are getting late.
అదే లైట్ హౌస్ క్లోజ్ చేస్తారు అందరూ
Okay, both of you.
దిగు దిగు దిగు
You want to get down? We can come to Baba.